you, Tyler. He doesn't sound like he's sleep deprived, do you think? Joyce and Anna and the baby are doing well, and continue to pray for them. John chapter 20 tonight. 20th chapter, the book of John. We want to look together once again into God's Word. We've got 3 more messages, and we will have gone through the book of John. It's been rather quick, hasn't it? But I hope it's been a blessing and a help to you. I hope as we looked on Sunday morning into God's Word that you were challenged to really learn to go to the foot of the cross daily to find the victory and the strength that you need in your life. Well, this is the end of the story. This is the excitement of the whole book. This is what John has been building toward and what he's been pointing toward for this entire book. What's going to happen in John chapter 20. It's exciting. It's the resurrection. It's made even more exciting by the fact that John the Apostle was there. He was literally there. He was an eyewitness, as we talked on Sunday morning, of the crucifixion. Well, he was an eyewitness of what we're going to look at and read tonight. Let me give you a little resurrection quiz before we start. How would you define the word resurrection in one word? I love these looks that I get. So, life, okay, I like that. Reborn, or good. Say it again. Oh, wonderful. Freedom, being alive, hope, salvation. Well, next question. How long was Jesus on this earth in his resurrected body before he ascended? Oh, are all the answers there, Jason? Oh, okay. Well, I didn't think. Oh, okay. Wow. Okay. All right. How many people saw Jesus in his resurrected body? Well, phooey on that. Then that didn't work, did it? Well, he was here for more than a month in his resurrected body. At one time, we know that more than 5,000 saw him. So this is an incredible event that we're going to study tonight. Tonight we're going to take a look at how this event can make a difference in our everyday lives, in your life and in my life every day. You know, it's so important. It's part of the gospel. It's part of the reason that we're saved. But I want you to learn with me tonight how we can experience the power of God's resurrection in our daily lives. And that's what John focuses on. The resurrection appearances of Jesus, those times that Jesus actually appeared to people after his resurrection. He appeared to a lot of people, a lot of different times. The first one he appeared to was Mary Magdalene, you know. Then he appeared to a couple of women who were returning to the tomb over in Matthew 28. And so apparently Mary and these 2 women had become separated, and they saw Jesus at different times. Later in that day, he appeared to Peter by himself, Peter who had denied him. He made a special effort to talk to Peter about the struggles that he was facing. He appeared to his disciples who were walking on the road to Emmaus later that same day. A lot of appearances on that first day. That same night, he appeared to all of the apostles except for Thomas. We're going to study him in a couple of messages. And then a week later, he appeared to all of the disciples with Thomas. And then he went up to Galilee, and he appeared to the 7 disciples that were there by the Sea of Tiberias. And then a little bit after that in Galilee, he appeared on a mountainside to 500 believers, as Tyler was singing about. Now, wouldn't you like to have been there for that worship service? 500 believers and the resurrected Lord? He appeared in Jerusalem, at Bethany. He appeared to James, he tells us in 1 Corinthians. In Acts, he appeared at the Mount Olivet, and they watched him go up into the sky. And then still a couple of those other appearances that had powerful effect upon people are found in the book of Acts. He appeared to Paul in Damascus, to Stephen from heaven outside of Jerusalem. He appeared to Paul again in the temple. And then, all the way to the end of the Bible, he appears to John on the Isle of Patmos. So the resurrected Lord is alive, and he makes himself known in people's lives. Now, the exciting thing about each of these appearances is the difference that Jesus makes in people's lives when they saw the resurrected Jesus. And that's what John 20 is all about. It's an incredible chapter, and it begins with the greatest question mark in human history, and it ends with the greatest exclamation point. The greatest question mark is the fact that Jesus, who was supposed to be the Messiah, was in the tomb. How could that happen? All the disciples are wondering. The biggest exclamation point in human history is the fact that Jesus is alive. The tomb is empty. And this isn't just something that happened a couple thousand years ago. This is for your life and for my life right now. This is for the question marks in our life. Jesus has the ability to come in through his resurrection power and change the question marks in our lives to exclamation points. Some of you have a real question mark about the relationships of your life right now. Jesus has the ability to change those question marks to exclamation points. Some of you have a real question about the attitudes that you've been struggling with this past week. Well, Jesus can change that to exclamation points by his resurrection power made known in your life. Some of you have real question marks about your faith. You think, well, I hear other people talk about their faith and how great faith can be, how it makes a difference in their life, but I'd really be honest, I have a lot of question marks about it in my life. I'm not a real trusting person. Well, the resurrection can change the question mark into an exclamation point. As we take a look at how the empty tomb challenged the life of Mary Magdalene, you and I are going to see how he can make a real difference in our lives. So let's begin here in verse 1. There are three important details that we have to start out with before we really get into things. The first detail is this. It says the first day of the week. Let's go back there. Go back to verse 1 if you would, Jason. On the first day of the week, he says, Mary Magdalene early, while it was still dark, yet dark, into the sepulchre, and seeth the stone taken away from the sepulchre. So the Greek word literally means, when it's talking about early there, it means the watch between 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. Now, what are you doing between the early watch like that? Most of you are sawing logs, but very early in the morning, it's still dark. And you get that picture, the woman got it very early and went to the tomb, and there's a reason for that. The reason for it is it was the tradition of the Jews to go to the tomb for at least 3 days after the person was buried, to take care of the body and to make sure that all of the spices were correct. Now, what was the day before this Resurrection Sunday? It was the Sabbath. And so they couldn't go on the Sabbath day. So Jesus, after being buried, he was in the tomb on the Sabbath day, and they had to wait until Sunday. So very early as they could get up on Sunday while it was still dark, they rushed to the tomb. Now, the second detail in this first verse is that it was the first day of the week. That's Sunday. It may seem like a small detail to you, but actually it's one of the most important details of the chapter. It's the reason that believers get together to worship on Sunday. The Sabbath day of the Old Testament wasn't Sunday, it was Saturday. And there are even some people today who say if you're a real believer in Jesus, you should worship on Saturday. Well, the reason believers started worshiping on Sunday was because it was Resurrection Day. So every time we get together to worship on Sunday, and by the way, in Jewish time, Saturday night after 6 p.m. Is Sunday. Sunday is Resurrection Day. That's why I like to guard my Saturday nights, because I believe that is such a time of preparation when I come in here to worship on Sunday morning. But the truth is, Paul tells us in Romans, it doesn't matter what day or night of the week you worship. That's not the key. We're not under the laws and rules anymore. You can even worship on Wednesday night. Some people don't know that, but you can't you? That's wonderful. You can worship on any time.